Um, so
Yeah.
D, we got
Jay.
like we got a really fun conversation for these guys tonight.
We do.
Well, I guess fun is one way to say it because we're gonna be having fun while we have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, as we hop right into the topic, this one is going to be interesting because this week we're talking about cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about some of the, the fallen Black saviors, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But really more of the idea of, is it possible to separate the art from the artist?
Right.
So we're hopping straight into it, just feet forward. All right. So I just want to say welcome back to our 5011 fam. Welcome back. Welcome back. So it's Jay and D here. We're here with another set of hot takes. This is the 5011 Chronicles. So thank you guys for tuning back in for another episode. We hope you've been loving what you're hearing so far. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, here at the 5011 Chronicles, what we do is we discuss everything from politics to pop culture. We represent the 5011 voices. We detail the 5011 experiences, and we have and continue 5011 conversations. So thank you for tuning back in and tuning in again. So
Yeah.
D, we've got
Jay.
like we got a really fun conversation for these guys tonight.
We do.
Well, I guess fun is one way to say it because we're going to be having fun while we have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, as we hop right into the topic, this one is going to be interesting because this week we're talking about cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about some of the, the fallen Black saviors, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But really more of the idea of, is it possible to separate the art from the artist?
Right.
So we're hopping straight into it, just feet forward. R. Kelly. R. Kelly, Robert Kelly, the Pied Piper, formerly known as
Piper
right. I mean, that right there says it
of
all.
R&B.
Of R&B. And I think what's so interesting about R. Kelly as a topic, as who he is and as everything that has happened over the course of the past couple of decades, because this is not just surviving R. Kelly. This is everything that's happened leading up to it.
Exactly.
He's such and I think I can say this just from my personal experiences with, associates, with family, with friends, with others in the Black experience specifically. He is a pretty polarizing topic when it comes to people and things in general. Why do you think that is? Why do you think he's so polarizing of a topic? Because I mean, obviously, he was instrumental in music and
Mm-hmm.
he's done so much musically. But I mean, like, his acts are pretty disgusting. So why do you think it's so polarizing in our community?
The funny thing is, I think it's actually quite weird that he's polarizing because I feel like, yeah, he makes great music. You know what I'm saying? He was stepping in the name of love. He believed that he could fly. You know what I'm saying? And he had his little gospel phase and all of that. But I think with Black people, sometimes we're so used to being attacked, and we're so used to seeing Black men wrongly accused and Black men being attacked or their careers being destroyed, that people place that on everybody when that's not everybody's plight. That's not R. Kelly's plight. He did that.
Yeah,
he did
right.
that. You know
Exactly.
He definitely harassed those girls. Like, he definitely was doing some out the way type stuff, and emphasis on girls.
The girls, right?
I'm talking about the girls, not the grown women, because it was definitely a grown woman on there, and I was like, girl, where were you? But anyway, but yeah.
And I mean, I think it's crazy because we've talked about it before, but growing up, it wasn't something so much that we were exposed to,
Right.
I can say. Because I can remember the jokes being made, about, urine, the urine jokes and the video jokes, and not really fully being able to comprehend what people were talking about or being able to really understand what was going on, because it wasn't really my place to understand at the time.
Right.
You know, like, here we are as millennials having a conversation on a problem we inherited in
And you
the
know
community.
what's crazy? Like, the fact that at that time it was so casual that people made jokes. They did episodes just making fun of it. You know what I mean? Like, it was not, and it's a testament to what was okay then, and how like women are really standing up for themselves and using their voices now. And it's like, this stuff is not cool. It's not okay anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all remember the Boondocks episode. We all remember the infamous Dave Chappelle song. And back then it was just jokes. But it's like, when you really look at it now, it's like, these were children. It's kind of not funny no more. It's not funny,
right?
You know?
And I know, especially for you, like, as a mother, like, as a mother, as a mother and as a Black woman, like,
and Surviving R. Kelly came out when I was pregnant,
which is even crazier. Like, because it blows my mind that, and we've talked about this before when we talked about Megan Thee Stallion, that there were so many people in our community alone who were shaming these victims for the things that they had been through. And even, you know, like, I mean, yeah, we can blame the parents, but what is blaming the parents doing now for the girls? What is blaming the parents, like, doing now for all of the damage that these girls have sustained, and these now women have sustained? Because,
and be clear, because the parents do have accountability, but he was the adult in that situation.
He was,
so it never should have happened. You know what I mean? It never should have happened.
And I also, I mean, like, and even playing devil's advocate a little bit, because I do understand some of the things that people have said about the parents, in the sense of, like, when the daughters were being called backstage, like being summoned by R.
My
Kelly.
Mom,
I mean,
first of all, mom would never. He has very sexual concerts. Very sexual concerts. Ain't no way. For one, we'd even be in the concert room.
I was just going to say, what were they doing there?
And for two, my mama is not.
Come on now.
No. I'm like, Mama, can I go backstage, R. Kelly? Hell no.
Exactly. I mean, because you look at it and now it's like, was your child's sanity worth her having a music career?
Right.
Was your child's well-being worth her having? Because I know there were some victims who were, many of them were aspiring musicians, and singers and artists, and he used his power to take advantage of them. Because even when we talk about, you know, rapists, when we use the word, and something I've heard you say before even is that a rapist knows how to pick a target. Absolutely. He doesn't pick a woman who's going to fight for herself, who's not going to take it. He looks for someone who he can isolate, someone who he can, and we'll even go further, because he's more than just a rapist. This is a predator. Like, this is
very
clear. You know, very clear.
He planned out every single thing he did. How you can't read or write, but you can plan all that out?
Absolutely. And you know what's even crazier is this camp of enablers he had around him, who were really just adding fuel to the fire of this. Because there's no way this situation should have happened as long as it did, with as many people who knew what was going on and no accountability on his behalf. Like, nobody was holding him accountable, and he wasn't holding himself accountable. And even hearing people say, oh, well, you know, he was a victim of sexual abuse. He was a victim of sexual violence. Yes, that is true. And sometimes
that doesn't mean that, you know, you get to do that to someone else. That means you need to go get help. You know what I'm saying? And the people around him who knew he went through that should have got him help. That was your job. Like,
because there's research backing up the fact that there is a chance that someone who's abused can become an abuser. But the thing about it is, he should have had, with the resources he had, and the camp, quote unquote, camp that he had around him, he should have had the support system and the access to get the help that he needed. And if you're that
much into church and you didn't realize that what you was doing was wrong,
come on now.
So you went to church and got rehabilitation for everything but that. Oh, okay, girl. Like,
it's crazy. Like,
Like,
what?
stop it, sir.
Yeah.
Stop. And the crazy thing is, I honestly don't think that he thinks that what he's doing is wrong, because so many people have allowed him to do it. They have literally watched it, stood back and watched him do it. His own people were going and recruiting these girls, picking these girls up and bringing them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, that is so disgusting. And my thing is, like, for one, we all know people don't care because it was a bunch of black girls. We all know that. That's why nobody cares.
Yep.
That's why they had to have did something. That's why it's not him, it's the parents. And it's like, be clear. Yes, the parents they have responsibility in that. They have to take accountability for the fact that you put a price on your child, basically. There's no way. I don't care who you are. I am not leaving you alone with my child. No matter how big of a celebrity you are, you're still a stranger to me. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I may know your songs, your little shooby-doo-wops, but I don't know you. You're still a stranger to me. And I think that's another part of it, is that people forget that celebrities are people and they are strangers. You don't know them. All you know is what they show you. You know what I'm saying? And there's no way that my mom would have been letting me be in the studio by myself with R. Kelly as young as they were. Like, it would not have happened. And ain't no his mama or his cousin or his auntie gonna watch it. I don't know her either. Like, are you kidding me?
Exactly.
And it's like, it's so crazy
or the background singers or background dancers.
Like, I don't know
y'all. For those are strangers. Exactly.
They're all strangers. And it's like,
what happened to Stranger Danger in the 90s? Like,
thank you. Thank you.
What happened to it?
I'm from up north. I still live by Stranger Danger. I don't talk to people that I don't know. I had to get used to people in the South just saying, hey, do I know you?
We're different. We're very different down here.
They very like, oh, just talk to you. Excuse me, do I know you? But
whole life story.
Right. But for me, like, even because while I was pregnant, I was just thinking, like, what would I do? But then I'm like, I wouldn't even allow a lawyer to be it, because as a parent, it's our job to protect our children. Those girls are children, and everybody knows when you're 15, 16, we all think we grown. We all want to be grown, and it's up to our parents to protect us and from the things that we don't know are out there. You know what I'm saying? It's my job to make sure that a Lori isn't in those types of situations where those things could happen to her. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, because let's be very clear. The blame you can't victim shame those girls, because he literally picked those girls on purpose. He picked people who he knew parents weren't going to really be involved, were going to trust him and all of that. And I feel like that once he saw that with the parents, I feel like he was like, okay, I could get this one. You know what I'm saying? Because if you got parents that's hovering and parents that's not with it, he's not going to try it like that. You know what I mean? Because he knows, okay, I can get caught doing this. And a lot of times, like, I feel like people, we forget how blessed we really are. A lot of us are just blessed to never be put in a position where somebody violates us. It's not like it's something that you can always really suspect, you know what I'm saying, kind of figure out. Sometimes you could be hanging around people that you feel safe with and somebody can violate you. It's just a blessing if it doesn't happen, because it happens to so many people. Like, and a lot of people don't talk about it because they don't feel comfortable, because they know that there are going to be people who are going to judge them or blame them. And it's not cool, you know what I mean? But it's the world we living in, child.
And to even piggyback off of that, and I've shared it with you before, but for me, even as being a victim of a sexual assault myself, when I was in college, it took me a year before I said anything to anybody. Yeah. So even seeing it from the perspective of some of the victims, or they don't even consider themselves victims, they call themselves survivors. Yeah. Yes, I should have corrected myself earlier, but from the perspective of some of the survivors, like, I can see why it took some of them so long to even get out of the situation they were in, or for others so long to speak up about it. Because many times you do play the blame game. You do blame yourself for so much of it. And when you're in a situation with a predator who knows that the self-esteem is that low, or that you don't have that level of self-worth to get yourself out of that type of trench, then they'll take advantage of that. Like, and that's exactly the type of girl he was looking for and that he would get. He was taking advantage of these girls who just didn't have the space or the capacity to fight back.
And the thing about it is, like, what a lot of people have to realize too, even if you go into it not even feeling like you're that type of person, somebody can make you, he used his influence and his power to make them comfortable, make them trust him. They relied on his opinions and what he thought of them and validation from him because he was their ticket out. So all he had to do, if their self-esteem wasn't already broken, he just had to break it. And when you view somebody, when you idolize somebody like that, it's easy for them to break your self-esteem because you're relying on them for your validation. So all he had to do was just say a few things about them or consistently, you know what I'm saying, make little comments, and that'll like chip away slowly, because people don't realize words stick with you. What people say when you care about them, it sticks with you. It may not matter if it's somebody that you don't really, just some random, but if you care about somebody or you idolize somebody, what they say sticks with you. It matters to you.
And so even
if you have that self-esteem, you could easily get to know somebody, let your guard down, and they will chip away at you if they want to. Like, it's possible.
You know what really gets me about this situation is the fact that he really flaunted this. Like, it wasn't even something that he was trying to hide. Like, he had the tapes. He was the Pied Piper of R&B. Like,
exactly.
He would. I mean, it doesn't.
The girls
it doesn't
was just around.
And that's. I mean, like, it doesn't get any more obvious. But what blows my mind is, if these had been white girls.
Because he would have been under the jail the first time.
Under the jail. Or they might have put him to death. Like, no lie. The first time, and it goes back to that point you were making earlier, that because it was Black women, it was something that, they had to have been, they had victim shaming. Like, they were victim shaming because they were Black women. But had these been white girls, it would have been a whole different situation. And I just think it's just heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking.
Even women that were in the comments like, oh, they knew what they was doing and these girls be da-da-da. Let me tell you something. I hate that so much. And it is so disgusting to see other women doing it, to sit there and say that, because not even just in this situation, but when I see women talk about young girls like that, oh, she did, and she know what she doing, and she da-da-da-da. Instead of talking like that, grab her up. Let her know she's worth more. Hug her and uplift her. If more people did that, instead of just telling somebody like, oh, she just a little this or she just be doing that. People, like girls at that age, when people say that about you, when you're trying to figure out who you are, you're just going to take what people are saying about you and that you're going to adapt to that. And you're going to make that who you are, because you're going to think that that's who you are because that's what people are saying to you. And it's like, why don't you uplift this person? Try to help this person. But no, we just go tear them down and be like, well, she knew what she was doing. She didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know what she was really getting into. Like, let's not.
She really didn't. She really had no clue what she was getting into. Like, none of them had any idea what they were really signing up for when they became one of Robert's girls. So, look, the ghetto. But yes, so before we continue, guys, I think it's the perfect time for us to take a little break, and we'll catch you guys back on the other side of this break as we continue this conversation. But who I was going to bring up next is Bill Cosby, because I think Bill Cosby is another, and this is kind of, you're going to notice, we're going to talk really about three examples in our community. The first was R. Kelly. The second will be Bill Cosby, and there will be a third. But Bill Cosby has also been a pillar in the community, in our community, whether it was Cosby Show, whether it was A Different World, whatever he was working on, he has been a pillar in the community. And with everything that has come forward about him, I'm going to start and say, I feel like a large chunk of my understanding of culture growing up has been kind of defiled. Like, I have a hard time watching The Cosby Show and A Different World right now. I have a very hard time watching them. And I haven't watched either of them really since this has come up, and since, everything has been uncovered and unveiled and brought to the light. And I don't know. It's really tough because it feels like I'm losing I don't want to say losing an uncle, but that's really how it feels. It's like, this feels familial. Like, this feels close, and it makes it difficult for I don't know. It's just tough. It's tough to look back on a chapter of your life and be like, well, like that's something I won't really feel comfortable sharing with my kids, or episodes of the Cosby Show or A Different World, because of what happened and because of who he was. He's not who we thought he was. So how do you feel about the Bill Cosby sitch?
Old Heathcliff. Good old Heathcliff.
Oh, Heathcliff.
So here's my thing. Because I remember when the whole Bill Cosby thing came out, and immediately everybody was like, oh, they just lying and trying to tear this black man down, and he's been a pillar of the community, and da-da-da-da-da. And my thing is this. Even if one or two of them lied, there is, for one, way too many of them. Way too many of them. Too many people who also are in the industry, so they have their own reputation to lose. You know what I'm saying? They don't need any. And then people seem to miss the part where he said he did it. He said he did it. How do you feel bad for somebody who said they did it?
Who said they did it, right?
He literally said he did it. And my thing is like, I just feel like this whole black savior thing, this whole we gotta just keep, like, yes, he was a pillar of the community. Yes, we lost good old Heathcliff. But my thing is like, I don't feel bad for you at all, sir. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how decrepit you are. I don't care how many freckles you got. I don't feel bad for you.
I don't feel bad.
Good riddance to you. I do not care. I don't at all. Because you didn't care about those women when you violated
those women, yeah.
I have no mercy for you. I do not care. Pray to God he's more merciful than I am. Because I don't have none for you. I really don't. And I don't see how, I can understand how people could be upset about losing that image, but don't be upset with the people. Be upset with him. He did it. And he said he did it. You can't dispute him saying he did it. Like, that's why he's in jail. He said he did it. Like, I don't understand it. I really, really don't. Like, and people are still the most idiotic of all people at that. Lil Boosie decided to tweet talking about they need to free him and them hoes lying. Boosie girl, shut up.
I mean,
because he's problematic in himself.
Isn't he? But that really brings me to the point that there have been a lot of like trolls, and I mean, we're going to get into the trolls a little bit more, I think, into another episode, because there have been a couple trolls, and there's one in particular who, when he speaks, I'm just like, please shut up. Nobody is listening for you. And that's Terry Crews.
Oh,
I'm like, please delete all of your social media and just stop making public appearances and speaking out on stuff, because we don't need your opinion right now. In fact, if I were you, I hate to say shut up and play, I have to say shut up and play ball. But if I were you, I would you can have your opinion. I just think you need to stop sharing it with the public. I think you need to just keep your opinion. Stop tweeting, please. Please.
And we was riding for him when he went through what he went through.
And my thing is, I really think about like the fact that Gabrielle Union had his back. One of the first people to be like, we're with you. We got you. Like, we support you. But the second she said anything about what she was going through, I didn't see any of that. I didn't know that, but I'll just say they were nice to me and I had a blast. It was a good old time for me.
Right. And my thing is like, why would they do it in front of you? Just because you didn't see it, so it didn't happen.
Right. You think she would just lie? She would just come out here and just say this because she just likes the way her voice sounds and she wants to cause some mess? I don't even know.
Gabrielle Union, of all people.
Of all people.
Who don't be really saying nothing. Like, really?
It just, I don't know. Okay. So I feel like we both knew the Bill Cosby conversation was going to be like cut and dry. It was going to be kind of 2 points.
Because he did. He said he did.
But I was going on levels of progression. And so this third one I know is near and dear to you. And I'm honest. I'm going to be very honest with where I stand on this situation. So our third is Michael Jackson. And so I think, of course, Michael Jackson, pillar of the community, one of the greatest Black entertainers ever, greatest entertainers, period, of all time, greatest recording artist of all time. Literally legend. But he had allegations a huge chunk of his career, especially towards the end, last, I'd say almost 15, 20 years of his career, there were conversations had about things that had taken place and sleepovers, and it almost like I have a much harder time with the Michael Jackson piece than I do with the R. Kelly piece. And I think part of that is I was a musical theater student, and like that Michael Jackson was one of the few artists that was able to permeate the majority of spaces I was in as a little Black nerd in Alabama. So, like I could go to the little homecoming parties or the little things that were had, and if there was no other Black artist played, there'd be some Michael Jackson. Like that was something I could kind of, okay, we're gonna hear something from Michael Jackson. So I grew up with a lot more of his music, and I was exposed to a lot more of his music and his artistry. But it's really tough because I know every time I listen to a Michael Jackson song, I'm like listening to the song and enjoying it. Like I was listening to PYT a couple weeks ago, and I'll be bopping to PYT. I mean, like I love PYT. So I'll be bopping to PYT, and I just start thinking, oh my gosh, I completely cut R. Kelly off.
Right.
No questions asked. But I'm still bopping to Off the Wall and Thriller. Like, what is wrong with me?
I own the Bad album, and it was on a display on my bookshelf. Like that's like I come from a Michael Jackson household. He was me and Brittany. I mean, when I say obsessed, we love Michael Jackson. I mean, some of the best music ever created, best performances ever done,
some of the best ever.
And I think for me, so when his situation happened, again, I was a kid, so a lot of it I wasn't super privy to. Like it wasn't like my mom was sitting around having us watching what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And also I remember sometime later when I was older, the boys coming out and doing like, I don't remember if it was like an interview or a documentary or what it was, but coming and saying that it didn't happen and that, they were told to say that. And then Oprah happened. So I was like, so wait, so it did happen?
Right.
Or it didn't happen?
Right.
And I think
it's
for
just so
me,
confusing.
That's what confused me was them saying, when I was old enough to know what was going on, them saying, well, it didn't happen. Our parents told us to say that. Now, I did not watch the Michael Jackson documentary simply because I felt like it was done for publicity, because he's been dead for over 10 years or 10 years or some, close to 10 years. And not that it's an excuse, not saying those boys are lying. It's not what I'm saying. But it just didn't seem relevant to me to even, whereas R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, these are people who are alive and need to be brought to justice. This is somebody who's not even living. So what do they get out of it? Because they've told their story before. You know what I mean? It's a story that they kind of, and I do want to point out, because Black women were not involved, his career was actually, they made it a point the rest of his life to intentionally come for him and try to tear him down, because Black women were not involved. So now we care. Now it matters, and we got to get this man. You know what I'm saying? And because it was boys, and you know how people feel about that.
Right.
But that's a whole other can of worms.
Whole nother conversation. Whole nother. But like that's a really good point. And Michael was also very outspoken. When it came to the industry and the wrongs and rights that were done, he was one of the people to be like, we don't need to trust so-and-so, we don't need to work with so-and-so, we don't need to do that. And he would say that publicly. He would say that in spaces where there were people who would be like, oh, he got the nerve to be saying this with me right here. Like he didn't have much fear of them. Like he wasn't afraid to say to call out what was wrong and what was right. And so I think for me, it's like, I agree. There was, what do we believe? Because like 1 second you're saying it happened, y'all are saying it didn't happen, and now he's dead, and you're saying, okay, it did happen, and here are our receipts.
Right.
I with you.
Now, I will
haven't seen Finding
say,
Neverland.
in their defense, I watched somebody's review who watched it, and she said that she said you could tell that those boys went through something, like they seemed very distressed, very, I guess one of them just still hadn't gotten over whatever went on, be it the publicity of it all or it actually happening or whatever the case may have been. But because I didn't see it, so I don't know. But she was saying that at least one of them looked like they hadn't even really moved on with their life and looked like stressed and downtrodden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't want to discredit them because, again, I don't know. I didn't watch the documentary. I wasn't privy to the first accusations, and maybe they said they didn't do it because I don't know why they said it didn't happen. But you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of I don't knows. And I think, for one, I will acknowledge I'm a hypocrite because I do be jamming DeMichael. You know what I'm saying? But it's not to say that if it's true, I wouldn't hold him accountable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's my thing. Is it like, yeah, I completely agree. If it's true, definitely, I think that's something that, and it's not something that, for me, R. Kelly was easy to just cut off because I wasn't, again, super submerged into the R. Kelly, music. But with Michael Jackson, just because of how much more, it would be gradual. It would definitely be progressive. It'd be something that took some time if that is what the evidence showed. So, I think.
Go ahead.
I just feel like this will always be one of those. Michael Jackson will always, I don't know if R. Kelly will always be polarizing in the Black community, but Michael Jackson will always be polarizing in the Black community because at this point we've lost him and there will never be any closure from his end on what.
Right.
Yes. I saw the figure.
Not just that, but also we also have to take into account the reason why a lot of Black people were not so quick to give him that Black savior like they did the Bill Cosby's and R. Kelly's is because Black people felt like Michael Jackson didn't want to be Black. People had issues with his appearance, his surgeries, and things like that. Black people in themselves, outside of his music, he had already been polarizing just off of his appearance. And people feeling like he didn't want to be Black.
Didn't want to be Black, yeah.
And I feel like, as far as that, I feel like if you're gonna play that role with R. Kelly and Bill Cosby, play the role with Michael Jackson. Because his career actually was attacked. They actually did try to ruin everything. Every time this man stepped out, did anything, they photoshopped pictures of him and everything. So if you're gonna play that role, which I'm not saying is right to play it, but if you're gonna do it, do it. You know what I'm saying? Stand on your opinion and stand on that if that's how you feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Because you could say the same thing about him, but because it was little boys, because it was little white boys,
I was gonna say that earlier, but that's absolutely what it was. That's absolutely what it was.
Because you know how the Black community can be about that. So it's easier for people to separate themselves from him when they see all of these other things, so they already discredit him as being a Black man in general, despite the music he put out for us about us. Because when he said they don't care about us, who you thought he was?
They don't really care about us. Come on,
did you see? Remember in the times, like,
but okay. So before we get off of Michael Jackson, I do have one question. I feel like it's probably one of the most controversial questions I ever asked you. But I've heard this question answered by so many people, and I feel like I have to steal it for this episode. So, and I'm going to explain my answer after you answer. Off the Wall or Thriller? You had to pick one. You could only have one for the rest of your life. Off the Wall or Thriller?
Off the Wall.
Okay. Why Off the Wall?
Oh, now you want me to explain it.
Yes.
You're saying song or like
no,
album?
I'm just talking about just
the song or the album.
Sure. No, I mean I'm talking about albums.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna stick with my answer to Off the Wall.
Okay.
But it's Michael Jackson. You
it
can't
is Michael
really
Jackson.
choose.
But this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna tell you my answer is Off the Wall. So Off the Wall, I feel like, because that was his debut album, wasn't it?
Solo.
So
album,
it was debut solo album. It was completely R&B. It was Michael giving like a whole fresh energy. But the reason for me, Thriller is a close second, is because when he was not nominated, or when he did not win a Grammy for Off the Wall, Thriller was his revenge project. He came for revenge when he wrote when Thriller was written and produced and compiled and released.
Yeah,
that was a revenge album, because he was like, I'm coming for all of the awards next year. And he did. Like,
if Thriller was revenge, then what was bad?
But I mean,
that was
that
the
point,
finish.
like,
that was the KO to finish him.
Shut it down. Finish it, right. Fatality. Flawless victory. Come on now. But yes, like, and I feel like through our whole conversation, just for everyone who's listening, kind of sum it up, I think it really is a personal thing, but at the same time, you've got to look at, who are you willing are you willing to put your money behind a pedophile? Right. I'm just going to drop the money and I'm just going to drop the line and say it.
Right. I will say this: if you already bought it, they already got your coin,
done.
Girl.
No, at that point, it's already done.
You know what I'm saying? They already got your coin. But I will say this: I do, for me, one big difference is knowing that certain songs were about those girls. That, for me, because don't get me wrong, because R. Kelly wrote for Michael Jackson. R. Kelly wrote for Casey and JoJo and Jodeci, which is my favorite R&B group. He wrote Life, which is one of my favorite songs from them. Like, and I still listen to like Live. I be up in here getting mine. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna fret. But I don't listen to R. Kelly's personal music because I know it's about the girls. Now I could watch A Different World, but I can't watch Heathcliff. I just can't do it.
I mean, I'm sure, I think I'd be able to work back to A Different World, but I don't really see myself watching Cosby Show. But you know, I'll even say this to the point of who R. Kelly wrote music for. He wrote for Aaliyah, and I have a hard time sometimes listening to those songs that he wrote.
Right.
Because of what he's saying in like it just AJ number enough.
Yeah, that first album. Yeah, I don't listen to the first album, but I listen to everything else from Aaliyah. Yeah.
Right.
Very that. And I think that's the difference, is the intent behind the songs, because it wasn't like Michael Jackson was writing those type of songs. R. Kelly was writing songs for these girls and making money off of them. Like, that's for me what made me be like, okay, I can't listen to this because now I know who it's for. You know, that's just weird. But yeah, go ahead.
It is weird. That is weird. So we've talked about, you know, a couple of the problematic people in the culture and a couple of the polarizing conversations that we've had around those problematic people. But I want to play a game with you, and I haven't given you any heads up. So the game is you're going to have two choices. You have to pick one. The name of the game is The Lesser of Two Cancels.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm going to give you two people who have been canceled before in the culture.
Okay.
And we're going to rapid fire. You have to pick one. Or if you need to ask me what they were canceled for, you know, just, I'm sure most of these you will know what they were canceled for.
Oh,
but you have to pick one or the other. You can only have one, and that's going to say a lot. So here we go. Okay,
so what am I picking? Am I picking like their artistry? Am I picking like
if there was
or like
one
do I pick
who
I would cancel?
Who would you still support if you had to pick between the two? Who would you still support? That's what. So you're picking the lesser of the two cancels. Okay. So first, we're gonna start real light. Camila Cabello or Sabrina Claudio. Both of them had the same type of thing happen. They had some tweets come up.
So Sabrina Claudio?
Yes, they both had some tweets come up where they were using the N-word. But Camila is kind of accused of some mistreatment of Normani, and allowing her fans to call Normani out of her name and, you know, treat her a certain type of way in her presence. So Camila Cabello or Sabrina Claudio?
This first one's not going to be rapid because you just gagged me, because I literally was just playing Sabrina Claudio for Lori. I listened to her every day. I had no idea she was. Oh my God.
I
guess I'm gonna have to go with Sabrina then, because I don't know the other girl. So, and I love Sabrina music.
I wouldn't go with Camila, just because for me personally, knowing that, because they're both Hispanic women. They're both women of Hispanic, like, descendancy. So
and
it kind of like
using the N-word the Hispanic community using the N-word. It's been a very polarizing conversation.
Very polarizing conversation. But for me, if you're Hispanic and you identify, no, I'm not even going to do that. I'm not even going to throw that caveat on there. No N-word, no N-word, like no N-word. Okay,
no
so
for
yeah,
you.
No soup, none. You can't sit with us at all. So okay, next, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tekashi 6ix9ine or GoldLink?
Child, give me GoldLink because I don't want no Tekashi. At least GoldLink put out some good songs. Child, I don't want no Tekashi. He is
so.
a mess.
Do you know what
I have no idea what GoldLink did.
Okay, so obviously Tekashi 6ix9ine canceled for being a snitch, everything that he said, and all the trolling he's done. GoldLink, on the other hand, and I just learned of this recently. Post Mac Miller's death, he made some comments in a post where I think he was trying to give reverence to Mac, but it came off absolutely disgusting. It just came off as it came off very narcissistic. I mean, Anderson .Paak called him out. Like, a lot of people called him out for like his response.
Wait, was he the one that said that Mac Miller shouldn't have got that award? Was that him?
I don't know. I don't think that was him. He was the one who said something about like Mac stopped talking to him, and like his album was like Mac's favorite album, but they didn't speak anymore or something like that. I don't know.
So it was one of them like we didn't need it type of comments. Like,
right, like and a lot of people were like this, like even Anderson was like, this was an unnecessary, like you just really pissed me off because this was unnecessary. You didn't have to say anything like at all. So
as much as I love Mac Miller, I'm gonna still go with GoldLink because I just can't do Tekashi.
My thing is, if I'm picking between 6ix9ine and GoldLink, I'll definitely go with GoldLink just because he has a Jasmine Sullivan feature, and that's what does it for me. You have a Jasmine Sullivan feature, I will listen to that song. Like
Tekashi, look up to 50 Cent. You canceled just off of that. You canceled just for that being your mentor.
All right, 2 more rounds. So, Doja Cat or Azalea Banks?
Oh,
I figured this was going to be the good one right here. I figured this is going to be a good one.
You know what?
Yeah.
But see, my morals gotta come into play now. Now it has to be a moral thing. Because when it comes to like the race thing, they're both problematic.
Right, absolutely.
Even though Azalea, she's so smart and she say good things, but the reason why I can't pick her is because of her homophobic slurs. I can't ride with the way that you be talking, girl. It's too reckless. It's way too reckless.
She's very reckless.
Very. And she need a hug. Oh, poor baby. She need a hug. Because I want to pick her. I love her music. She's so talented and she's so smart. But girl, you problematic. She's been problematic way more than Doja has. She's
been way more problematic. I'm going to have to go with
Doja.
So I was going to say
that hurt. It hurt to even say it because I love her. I love Azalea Banks.
I think Azalea Banks is so talented, but I just can't take her. I can't take her.
I can't
I feel like she's always doing something for attention. And many times I feel like Doja got caught up, but most of the time she's usually promoting her music. She's typically promoting her music, her artistry, trying to lift others. That's usually what she's trying to do. Yeah. She did hit a pretty tough spot. And she's one of those people I listen to with my shades on and my mask up.
Yeah.
I don't need anybody to know that it's me listening to Doja, but there are a couple songs of hers that I'm just like, Doja, you really like her. She's very creative in her lyricism.
I can't lie. So. I still play Azalea Banks' Fantasy. I love that. Fantasy it was a really good album.
My intro to her was Anna Wintour, the song.
Yeah.
That was my intro to Azalea. And I was like, oh, I like this. And so I started listening a little bit to her.
So talented.
And I think she's very talented. But when I started realizing how problematic she was, I was like, I can't follow.
And she's problematic too often. Once she had the chickens in the closet, I said, all right, now sis, I got to go.
The chickens in the closet, when she like moving out of an apartment or a house or something, and they were talking about, like, she had the pictures, and I was like, what are you doing?
When it came to the chickens in the closet, I was like, all right, see, I've been trying to give you a pass, but I got to go now. I got to go.
All
That's
right,
how I
it's
felt
been
about Nicki
real.
with Roman. Like when she did that performance with Roman in the Catholic
With
Church,
the
girl, I
Catholic
gotta
Church and
go.
the Vatican. Yeah,
I got to go.
that was so okay. We got one more.
Okay.
I think this one might spark a mini conversation. Chris Brown or Daniel Caesar.
What did Daniel Caesar say?
So Daniel Caesar's done a couple things. Most of what he's done has been comments about, you know, Black women or Black people being too sensitive. We can't take jokes, and comments like that. And then, you know, with Chris Brown, I mean, you could take your pick. He's got a little track record too.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to talk this one out.
Right. Look, you be having to like, okay, so
because I think Daniel Caesar is very talented. I did not know he was coming for the folks. I knew I had kind of heard whispers of him being canceled, but I didn't really know for what
it was for.
Yeah. So Chris, and it's so funny because me and Brittany, we always have this conversation where it's like, as soon as we say Chris Brown been doing good, he and do something.
He always as soon as you say he's doing good, he messes it up every time.
And my thing is, I might have to go with Chris. No, okay. See, he made that comment about dark-skinned girls.
And that was the reason I put him on the list for sure, was him not letting dark-skinned girls in his section, or telling girls they're too big or they're too dark to be in his section. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And then what was that thing he said about, in one of his songs, he was talking about he only likes the girls with the good hair.
Yeah.
The Black girls with the good hair or something like that.
Like I said, he did my girl Karuchi wrong. You know I'm in the Navy.
He did Karuchi wrong. He did Rihanna wrong. But that discography though.
Right.
But that discography though. With that discography.
That's another. What I tell you, and the only reason, see, because at first I was finna say Chris very confidently, but I started thinking about all the comments he's made about Black women, and that's when I had to backpedal, because as a Black woman, I just can't let you slide on that. You know what I'm saying? Because we see your type. You keep dating Karuchis.
You have a very distinct and specific type, and it's real obvious.
Am I really finna say Daniel Caesar? I really feel it coming out. Like I feel like
I do too. I'm with you. I
gotta say Daniel Caesar.
I have to say Daniel Caesar. And I think I'll say this: Chris Brown has had an amazing career. I've actually seen him live. He's a phenomenal live performer. He brings great energy. But when I think, it goes back to like, when you pick who you support, I look at who we support. Like, it's not just financial, but it's almost like a spiritual thing too. Because when you start letting so much of someone's music and energy into your space, that becomes part of who you are. You know, like.
And you can't help it. That's what music does.
You can't help it. That's what music is. I feel like that's what music is designed to do.
Exactly.
Like, it is designed to kind of permeate the environment and to have a certain type of effect on you. And I have so much love for his music, but I'm going to go with Daniel Caesar.
I can't believe I just picked Doja Cat and Daniel Caesar.
Doja Cat and Daniel Caesar over Azalea Banks and Chris Brown. Like, what? First of all, what type of celebrity death match would that have been?
One I would have paid to see.
Absolutely paid to see. Absolutely paid to see.
Those are some good ones. You made me think on that.
Thank you. I might be bringing this little thing back. You know, maybe we'll have some more lessers, thises and that's, or something. I don't know.
Because that it really exposes me of how much of a hypocrite I could be, because I be listening to Chris Brown.
Me too, friend. Me too, D. I'm serious. Me too. Because I mean, and I have like, there's a playlist, because I stopped listening to Doja, but there's one playlist in particular that has like 6 of her songs on it, and I'm like, they're not going anywhere though. Like,
to be honest, I cannot listen to Doja. I could do it. because I don't listen to her that hard right now.
Yeah,
but I like her and I think
did
she's
it for me.
talented, but I don't listen to her that hard.
Her last album did it for me when I started to recognize like her performance, like her live performance, like the ability of talent and skill she actually puts and creativity into her live performances. I was like, oh, so you an artist. Like, okay, I got you. Okay, so I'm a watch you from a distance, Amara, but
right,
I got you. You know,
and then
Amara,
you got somebody
whatever.
like Chris Brown, who not only musically talented, this man be painting, this man be styling, designing, choreographing,
fashion, right?
Literally every art that there is, he's mastered.
He's dabbled in it, right?
What can't you do?
Master, you're right. He's a master of the arts. He really is.
He is. And absolutely. I just picked Daniel Caesar over Chris Brown, but my morals just wouldn't let me do it. I had to, man.
Your morals, yeah.
I ain't even gonna say you've been doing good, because as soon as I say it, you gonna do something. So I ain't even gonna say it. I don't want to see you in the shade room, so I ain't even gonna say it.
Because you know that's where he'll pop up tomorrow. Like it. So before we get out of here, I did want to shout out just do you have any underrated musicians that you feel like just need a shout out? Like they just need the love right now? Because I got one. You got one that you just want to throw out there for the people?
I have so many people. Let me pick one. I'm just gonna pick the first person that comes to my mind. There's this artist, Abra. She is so you know.
I love Abra.
Okay, good.
I love
so
Abra.
Talented. A lot of people I don't think know of her. I don't know if they've heard her songs. The first song I heard of hers was Fruit, and I was in love from then on. Like,
yes, Fruit. Fruit was the first one I heard. Yes,
I love it. So she's gonna definitely be
one of my besties. You met Aisha. Aisha introduced me to Fruit. Yes, absolutely. I love Abra. So good. So my one, I feel like she's been rocking out for a minute. I feel like she's actually been in the industry for about 10 years. But every time she releases something, I just feel like she brings vocals, she brings lyrics, she brings performance. Like she's good and she's getting better. And that's Seven Streeter. I feel like people are absolutely sleeping on Seven.
Seven sleeping on Seven. Let's be clear.
So talented. No, absolutely. But like she's starting to do so much more with her vocals and so much more with like her actual dancing and her ability that I think we're about to start seeing some of the best from her. So I just wanted to give a little underrated musician shout out. So we got Abra over there. If you have not heard Fruit or the project Rose, go check it out. Fruit is one of my favorite songs off of Rose. I absolutely love it. And Seven Street, I mean, everybody has heard It Won't Stop. We were just talking about Chris Brown, but go check out some of her newer stuff. She just dropped a song, I think it's called Hit Me Up, HMU. It's pretty cute. But What You Say, I have it on replay. I have What You Say on replay because that's a good song.
Yeah.
What you say. Yeah, she did that. Oh, she did that.
Come on, vocals.
I wanted to get to our final segment. Right. You just had to throw it out there a little bit. I want to get into our final segment, which is For the Culture.
Yes.
And I want you to go first. Who do you have for the culture for us this week? No?
You don't want me to go first. I got to pull it up so I can make sure I give y'all the right Instagram. Well, I'll go first.
Yeah, you pull it up. I actually have props to show. So my for the culture Black business shout out this week is one of my best friends who I was just talking about, Aisha the artist. So she's on social media as Aisha the artist. That's spelled AIESHA, the artist. So I mean, Diva's got stickers. She's got coloring books that are pro-Black people. I mean, she has a Black girl coloring book that she designed and put together herself. I love it. She's got crochet goods. She's doing this whole crochet line. I'm loving it. But I've got a couple pieces right here that I want to show. So this is one of my little bags that I got from her. It's a little denim bag. It's a little backpack. It's got some little painted hearts on it.
Is that friend that's over there?
Yes, it's friend that's over here.
Okay.
Yes. So
hey, friend, girl, that's cute.
She said, girl, that's cute. She said, thank you. Then this is one of her prints. So she's also a visual artist. She paints, she does prints, she does stickers. And then she also does apparel. So this is, I love a little crop top. This is her Art by Aisha crop top that I have. But it's just a little, I mean, like, I have friends who are all in different areas of business. And this is, I mean, like, I don't know if you can see that painting in the corner with right over there. she did that one. That's the first painting I bought from her. I mean, the girl is she's legit.
So
So y'all gotta go
talented.
check out Aisha the artist. She's
Yes.
on Instagram. She's on Twitter. I think she has a shop online as well. So you gotta check it out. Is it Bit Cartel or is it Etsy?
Come here, Aisha girl.
AishaTheArtist.com. She owns her domain, guys. So
Look,
go
you should have let her
support
do
this
her own
Black
drop.
business. She's shame right now. She playing low key in the background. But yes, guys, please check out Aisha the Artist. Again, it's spelled AIESHA theartist.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Black business shout out for the culture.
Yes, shout out to Aisha. So my for the culture is actually a Black owned cannabis strain. The comedian Darren Brand, y'all may remember him from Wild 'N Out as Big Baby Davis or whatever. But he has his own strain. It's called Big Baby Bud, that he literally went to Vegas himself, nurtured it, grew it, took care of it, cultivated it. And this is a double one because he did it in collaboration with G5 Cultivation, which is also Black. And they are also, I believe G5 also put out Cameron's strain as well. So that's kind of like a double, Black owned on Black owned on Black owned. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely wanted
yes, we love it.
Shout that out because
Blackity Black.
Right. So many Black men right now are incarcerated on marijuana and cannabis charges for even the smallest of little pieces of gram, little half blunts they're sitting in jail for. And you have other people who have created a whole industry off of it, making money off of these men that are in jail. So to see Black men taking control of that and saying, hey, we're going to do this the legal way and we're going to get our money too. I'm loving it. I'm here for it. G5, when I get big, I'm coming so I can come make mine too. Boom.
Yes, love it. Yes. And that brings up one little point I want to make before we get out of here. It goes back to what we were saying last week, guys. You've got to make sure you're voting in those local elections because legislation and things like that can start at the local level. Like there's no reason there's still so many Black men behind bars for marijuana and cannabis charges when there is $1 billion industry that is continuously growing each and every year that other people are making money off of. So yeah, we need to get our people out and we need to make sure that we're creating generational wealth for our people. Love it. So what were the names again? It was G5 Cultivation?
G5 Cultivation brings you Big Baby Bud.
Yes, Big Baby Bud. Love it.
And you can go to the store in Vegas if you're in Vegas and you could go in there, pull up and get you some. Boom.
Love it. Well, guys, this has been a fun chat. I think we got real deep, real quick. We talked about some good stuff, some hot topics. We had fun with a game.
We exposed ourselves as hypocrites.
Exposed ourselves as hypocrites, right? That Michael Jackson and Chris Brown. Dadgummit. But again, it's been a beautiful conversation with the 5011 fam. D, it's so good seeing you as always. I love you. And I will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.